KENS 5 Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
Well, it was scary. We were like, we could have gotten killed.
Possible tornadoes ripped through our area.
Like a and it almost sounded like shots.
Storms blasting holes into buildings from Floresville to D'Hanis.
You can see this tree came crashing through the roof,
Flooding streets in San Antonio.
I just got a wreck right in front of me.
With sights here never before seen.
The image that'll stay with me for weeks, if not months to come. The roof of this 3-story Holiday Inn Express, that is the frame of an RV.
And we have just gotten word that the storms have turned deadly. The first flood death from the storm. A body of a person has been found whose vehicle was swept downstream at Joint Base San Antonio, Camp Bullis. The identity is not being released at this time. Now, as a safety precaution, areas within Camp Bullis have been closed, and service members in training areas affected by the recent rain have been evacuated. And we are on top of this weather story and have you covered with video from the damage today, the road conditions right now, and the threat of more storms tonight. Our Eyewitness News crews are all over the area, ready to bring you live team coverage, starting with a live look at the weather right now with Bill Taylor.
Deborah, the flood threat is still out there. Through tomorrow morning, we still could see rain that causes and leads to flooding in a hurry. That's why this flash flood watch on this map is until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. But for the last several hours, we've had a nice break, and that's given all this water at least some time to recede. Up I-35 is where we still see some pretty good storms near Kyle and areas north of Austin. The main rain is now moving into Houston and then also across North Texas, but as long as this surface boundary is out to the west and the upper level trough of low pressure is to our west, that's going to be kicking in and generating more showers and thunderstorms later tonight and overnight. But in the interim, 70s, under cloudy skies, humid conditions, and about a 40% chance of a scattered shower popping up during the evening hours. That rain chance goes up in a hurry as we get into overnight. Later in the half hour, I'll show you future radar and exactly what you can expect as we work our way into Saturday morning. But the violent storms erupted hours before sunrise, about 45 miles west of San Antonio, in a small town west of Hondo, D'Hanis. And Rogelio Mares has spent the day surveying the damage to this historic town, and he joins us live. Rogelio?
Bill, behind me here, you can see this bank, more than 100 years old. The second floor just completely collapsed. They're cleaning up the mess this afternoon. Medina County Sheriff Randy Brown told me no one was hurt, amazingly, when the storm blew in around 4 this morning. But it did leave significant damage that starts here in the town center where they're cleaning it up today. And it worked its way to a neighborhood behind the area here you see. That's where I met Tony Callis, who told me a tool shed lies behind his backyard. But it wasn't there last night. It actually flew the distance of a football field from a business across the street and landed behind his home. He said it narrowly missed hitting his house, specifically the corner of his house where his children's bedroom is.
The only way I can explain it is just it's extreme noise. It was loud and it just incomplete shock. And then by the time you have a chance to actually process, it was over. So wow. This is what I walked out to.
Plenty of damage and debris to clean up here in this small town just west of San Antonio, about an hour west. Earlier today, U.S. Congressman Will Hurd was touring the damage. He said he's going to see what help, if any, federal government can provide these people. Reporting here in D'Hanis, Rogelio Mares, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.
Rogelio, thank you. People in Floresville say they woke up to a sound unlike any they've ever heard before. Homes ripped in half, buildings obliterated in the path of the likely tornado. It went right across Main Street, which is where we find Dylan Collier.
And Deborah, for several hours this morning, it appeared the damage, for the most part, was contained to the high school and the main business district. But around noon, Chopper 5 footage confirmed homes were leveled as well. Around 6 a.m., large trees were uprooted and turned into projectiles, ripping into homes.
Just thank God we're fine. And my husband just put up the fence too. I said, it's material stuff. We're good. We're good.
The owner of this property was too distraught to speak with us. Her home now a pile of insulation and twisted metal. 2 blocks away, Floresville High School, where employees said they heard the storm just as it hit.
All of a sudden, just this loud rumbling
I mean loud.
School is canceled through Monday, perhaps longer.
The roof was peeled back on one side and possibly pressure blew out the wall on the opposite side.
Next to the school, what's left of the Valise Family Restaurant, a Main Street mainstay for 24 years.
Definitely heartbreaking. It's hard-earned money that we're, and it kind of just got all taken away all at once.
And here is a live look at the now boarded up Valise Family Restaurant, again in business more than 24 years, just across from the high school. At this point, amazingly, not a single report of a serious injury. And now that frame from the RV that was stuck inside the roof at the Holiday Inn Express, that was removed about 3 o'clock on the second attempt by a large crane. Reporting live in Floresville, Dylan Collier, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.
All right, Dylan. In New Braunfels, entire neighborhoods are partially submerged as the Guadalupe River crests at more than 25 feet. Justin Bork is live on River Acres Drive. And Justin, just how high did the water get there?
Deborah, to give you an idea of how bad the flooding was, if I stood in this exact spot just a few hours ago, I would be swimming right now. The water came well beyond here into those homes over there and destroyed walls, floors, and furniture.
Raging waters in the Guadalupe send building materials afloat, swallow entire lawns.
Are y'all hungry? Y'all want some eggs or something?
And leave one family to wade through a disaster area.
Anything that's below the knee is going to have to be replaced.
Garrett Neese says he came back from Austin just in time to evacuate the water line well beyond his Riverside home.
It rained 14 inches in, 7 hours, so there's nothing you can do.
As gray skies lingered, that floodwater seeped into creeks and tributaries. Those expecting open roads,
we done drove all around this place,
found streams cascading and frothing, swallowing everything whole.
We were going to try to cross one a minute ago because it looked real light, and then like a huge log come floating down the river.
Now Comal County has declared a local state of disaster in order to help low-lying homes like Garrett's, as this unwelcome visitor recedes away.
It's the price you pay to live this close to the river. Yeah.
Now this mud and debris you see on the curb right here, this was an inch-thick layer on top of the road. Some cleanup crews just came by and cleaned that out. And right now in Seguin, we're told there are evacuations underway. Anusha Roy joins us live. Anusha, I understand officers are going door to door asking people to leave their homes.
Justin, and it is absolutely necessary because the Guadalupe River has been rising consistently. It has swelled a lot, even in just the last hour, making its way towards where we are standing. So much so, at this point, there's a neighborhood nearby called Glen Cove where the city has said that the electricity to the houses along the river have now been shut off. The video really tells you all about how quickly this river has been flowing. We watched as debris, anything from jet skis to boats to even patio furniture, have been flowing downstream. In fact, there is actually an entire dam that you can usually see that is now underwater, which is why the evacuations in the low-lying areas along this river are mandatory in Seguin. Police are stopping cars going into these neighborhoods that are under a flood threat and telling them to grab what they can and leave. Officers going door to door as well because they just want to make sure people are getting out in time.
Oh, I know it's going to be underwater. It always is.
Yeah. What do you usually see?
The rooftops, the houses all are underwater.
You're taking an aerial look at the Guadalupe River here in Seguin, showing the river reaching beyond its banks. There are also evacuations going on in the San Marcos River area, which is considered voluntary at this point out in the county. I do think it is worth mentioning that we've got 2 shelters within 20 minutes open right now, one at Navarro High School here in Seguin and another one in Geronimo at the Civic Center. Deb?
All right, Anusha, thank you. Well, now let's take a live look at the roadways. It is rush hour. And Stacia, are we dealing with the flooding or any road closures in this area?
Not nearly as many as we were this morning, Deborah. For a total list of any type of road closures or anything like that, you can find that right there on our website at kens5.com. But right now, things aren't bad. Just looking at the roadways, this is what we're seeing over here at 410 in Ingram. Slow down there because of an accident. And this was busy earlier, but it has definitely moved along there at Alamo. But again, so here's 410 in Ingram, going back to TransGuide 1. If we can, there's a slowdown there at Alamo, but it is moving along just fine now. As you can see, a little bit of slowdown. Let's take a look at our map. So as you can see, for the most part, everything is moving along nicely in green. We are seeing some slowdown around 281, both northbound and southbound. And way over here near Floresville, storm damage and an accident has the freeway closed, both northbound and southbound on US 181 right before Floresville. So we'll let you know when that opens back up. Of course, that's the area that had all of that damage. And just going back to our map, you can see that, again, for the most part, everything is in the green, but we are still seeing a little bit of slowdown on 410 near that accident over here on the west side. Deborah?
All right, Stacia, thank you. Well, take a look at these pictures. Several calls came in from parents who put their children on the bus only to learn their children hadn't made it to school and their bus was nowhere to be found. And this is why. The flash flooding on Scenic Loop near Whipplewheel Way stopped the bus in its track with the children inside. Bexar County Sheriff's deputies were able to get the kids off the bus and carry them to safety. The children made it to school okay, although a little late. But it is a different scene in San Marcos. This is Travis Elementary School, where floodwaters, as you can see, have completely surrounded that building. Now, children are still inside. Crews have been trucking groups of students to higher ground so they can reunite with their parents. Again, that's the scene in San Marcos. Well, what to look out for and the areas you should stay away from if you're driving tonight in San Antonio. Plus, a look at some of your videos. We have a first-hand look at how the storms are affecting everyone in the area. And Friday Night Football, the cancellations that have already been made and the plans for the games that will go on.
Still incredible to see Floresville High School with that huge hole in the side of that building. All right, most of the rain right now north of San Antonio, also southeast along the Texas coast. But we're still watching this surface front kicking in from the west. So coming up next, I'll show you future radar, when to expect the next round of showers and thunderstorms. Stay with us.